Good morning. This is Dave from Ask the Masters. We got Randy here, and we have Dominick Mondi from NESPA, and we're just trying to get as much information out to everybody as we can. So we got the national perspective earlier. We really want to understand from Dom kind of what's going on in the Northeast and really get your take on it. Dom, go ahead and kind of introduce yourself and let us know what you know about the whole coronavirus scare here.
Yeah, sure. Well, as you said, I'm Dominick Mondi. I'm the executive director of the Northeast Spa and Pool Association. First off, thanks to both of you and the Ask the Masters community, Facebook group, all the stuff you guys have been putting out. You've been allowing us to share some of our updates through your channels. This is one of those. This is one of the most unique times in all of our lives, whether you look at it personally, professionally, whatever industry you're in. It's not just scary and challenging, but it really is a unique situation, how governments are dealing with it. So appreciate all the opportunity you've created to communicate with the pool industry, and try and get as much information out there as possible. So in the Northeast, NESPA, our membership runs across 4 states: Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. And that creates an interesting dynamic. You guys are in California. Everybody works across state lines around here because the states are that small. Everybody's on borders. It's kind of one community in a lot of different states. So that creates 4 different governments, 4 different governors, all trying to work together. And it's probably worth saying that it's been actually very refreshing to see states who are often in competition with each other for business and industry. The governors of those states are on regular communication. Every time one talks, they mention that they're working with the others, and they're trying to stay aligned as much as possible. That said, 4 states, 4 different sets of laws, 4 different authorities granted to executive branches. So each state is approaching how they're restricting business, social movement, and social distance rules a little bit differently. So we're looking at all of that and trying to give our members and the industry at large the best information we can, with the big, huge caveat of every time NESPA says or writes something, it's almost immediately changed and needs to be updated and whatnot. We had that happen on Friday, and that's actually when we switched to doing some video updates and trying to more conversationally engage with the industry, because we sent out an email at noon on Friday, and by the time we pressed send, the Governor Cuomo had issued a new order changing what we had said almost at the same time as we were sending out information. So that's how fast things have been changing on the ground, and it certainly created a lot of angst and uncertainty for pool builders and service contractors, for sure.
Yeah, and I just want to say that I applaud you because I stole this idea from you. You started those video updates, and so all the credit goes to you. And I wanted to use our platform because we are more of a nationwide and even a worldwide platform, just to aggregate the ideas or the information so that we can send it out more broadly to our membership and that. So tell us what you do know for certain in the Northeast region, and then what things you kind of are unclear of, and then eventually I'd like you to do kind of a, give us a 2 to 4 day look ahead, because you're closer than many of the boots on the ground people. So
Yeah. So what we know for sure, and I guess I should preface this by saying, and we're going to have hopefully more information on our website in the next 24 hours as we're able to now sort of absorb a lot of the information. But every business looking to continue to operate in the region is going to have decisions to make. So what we know is there's a lot of gray in the way these executive orders have been written. Some folks at the moment are very, very confident that they 100% fit under certain language that would allow for work on residential properties. What we don't have currently is either solid and specific guidance from the government, naming by name the pool industry, pool service, pool, whatever piece of it. Nor do we have a solid legal opinion that we 100% are clear. Now, what we do have is interpretations. We've got a lot of information. We've got a lot of references to some parts of the federal government around what industries are considered essential. We've got executive orders from other parts of the country naming specifically pool and pool service as essential. We've got information from a couple Department of Health saying, even if you close down recreational facilities, you have to maintain the pools. All of those things are information that we're using to continue to reinforce the argument that pool service and maintenance in particular is a public health concern if it's not kept up. So what we're looking for right now to give the industry a peace of mind is something a little more official. But what we're telling everybody is even at that point, you're gonna have to make some decisions for your own business. I can tell you that, and your listeners, that the governments of all 4 states I mentioned have all made it pretty clear. If you're considered essential and if you can work, then you can work. You still have to follow all of the guidelines as far as social distancing, as far as sanitation and cleanliness of the workspace and vehicles and whatever else. And they are going to be looking. They're going to be watching to see what people are doing. They want the spirit of these executive orders to hold true. So they want people apart. They want to reduce the spread of COVID-19. So businesses who legitimately feel that they are essential and they're servicing pools, they're maintaining water, they're keeping people safe, are going to be viewed more favorably than individuals who are looking to start new construction projects that don't have to start, that have a tougher essential argument. So there is going to be, we're looking for some industry overview we can share, but even within that framework, there is going to be some business to business decisions.
Dom, what's it look like on the ground up there in the Northeast right now? Your weather and stuff, and as far as opening up pools, what's the state of the industry look like from your perspective around town?
Yeah. We've had about the most mild winter we could have had. I'm in central New Jersey, central southern New Jersey myself. Our schools didn't have a single snow day all year. Most of New Jersey's in the same boat. So we're in our opening season, and we're, from all the companies I talk to, ahead of where we would normally be as far as opening pools. A lot of construction continued, so there's a lot more right through the winter. So there's a lot more open construction projects than maybe there would normally be this time of year, which is a concern in and of itself from a safety perspective. It's one thing to say, no, you can't go out next week and dig a new hole, because that's not what the intention of what's happening. It's another thing to say you got an open hole in the ground on a residential property. Maybe it's steel waiting for an inspection. That's a safety hazard potentially. Well, the hole could cave in if it sits for too long. You got kids playing out there with an open project. So that's where even in the construction space it gets gray, right? There's a difference between starting new work and managing a job site to the point where it's safe. But so it has been, but to your question, has been a mild spring, mild winter. More people are opening their pools. What I'm hearing in different areas of our region, out on Long Island and Connecticut, is folks are reaching out, looking to get their pools open because they know they're going to be home. They know they're going to be, they know the potential for, shelter in place, or they themselves might get quarantined. They want to be able to recreate and utilize that part of their property.
Yeah, I have a boatload of kids at my house, and We don't have a pool, but we've got, the jungle gym, and we've got a trampoline in that. And I got to tell you, it's a lifesaver for my wife, because our school is out here in California. We're out until at least the middle of May. So my wife is looking at, 6 kids at home for the next 2 months, and the ability to have that available is great. I hadn't even thought about the prospect of children being home, and a construction project being right in the middle. You've got open trenches, you've got steel rebar that could be out. So that reality of getting the site to a safe place, I feel like there's an argument that could be made, and not necessarily making a recommendation from anybody, but there are the spirit of the law, it comes into effect there. So looking forward, what do you have anything that you're hearing maybe coming down the pike? It seems like the Northeast, that you guys are pretty much on the tightest lockdown. California is pretty close, especially Northern California, but It feels like the Northeast, especially kind of the tri-state area, is really locking down pretty hard. Is that, are you seeing any further? Like, I don't know how much further we can go, aside from.
Well, Dave, can I add to that question, Dom? What's your wholesale and retailers doing there? What's your recommendations to them? I mean, we've got these pools opening up, but are your wholesale retail outlets still? Are you recommending they stay open?
Yeah. So, two things there on the what's coming up perspective. You're right. Well, I think you're right. We could be surprised at what could happen as far as further restrictions. Last week was every day we were getting closer and closer to, I think, where we were always going, which was 100% non-essential workforce staying home, and a lot of these tighter restrictions around movement and gatherings and things like that. What our hope is, and what I've been talking to a few folks on my team about, is it seems like there's not a lot further we can go, to your point, without, or at least I should put it this way: if we go much further, the answer is universally going to be you can't work. Like they're like, that's the only place to go next, is just really shutting it down. If it stays like this for a while, what we're hoping for is over the next 48, 72 hours, the dust settles a little bit, and we'll start to we might be able to get a clearer picture on how governments are going to enforce these restrictions, what they're going to be looking for, maybe additional guidance, because things will be changing less, so we can get a more settled opinion on a few things. And that includes retail and wholesale distribution, which are very different in this regard. Non-essential retail is clearly, they're supposed to be closed to the public. But if you're essential, depending on each state's definition, there's references to hardware stores, building supply stores that are considered essential, there's still a lot of direction to, if you can close the store and do delivery, can you do drop off, pick up outside the front of your store so no one has to actually come in? And every state's a little bit different in how they're wording this. And we're trying to aggregate, it's a lot of information. We're trying to pull the relevant parts out and aggregate some of that on our website for people to reference. So, the answer to that, Randy, is in your business right now. We're talking to people more one-on-one as they call in. Be responsible, right? If you can do business that way, do business that way. If you've got back office staff they should be working from home. If you're a construction company and you've got some open projects and you think within, New York City's executive order, or New York State's executive order, which allows construction, you should be able to continue some of those projects. Still respect the fact that your office staff needs to be moving remote. There's two different sections of your operation. So retail is going to have to make a lot of changes, but may be able to operate at some level. Wholesale distribution seems to have a little bit of a wider window. If you're a distribution channel for an essential business, in most cases you should be able to remain open. But again, following all social distancing guidelines, following increased cleaning and sanitation protocols, moving non-essential staff within that essential operation off-site, all of that still has to be followed. That's like that's huge overarching the whole thing. It's like, even if you think your business is essential, if pool maintenance and sanitation is essential, you still have to do all that stuff. You still have to, it's very clearly written, essential businesses still need to follow all of these other guidelines. So everybody across the region is going to be modifying their business operations in some way for the foreseeable future.
Well, and as we're talking on a Sunday, you're still aggregating information. So, I mean, this is, everything is moving so quickly. So, for your members and anybody that's not a member but is kind of in your region, it sounds like you guys are updating your website pretty regularly and trying to get the information out there. Is that the best place for everybody to plug in?
For now, yeah, that's where we're trying to put stuff together. So any emails we send out, or there's 4 chapters within the NESPA region, and we're asking them to point to the one area so that we can update things once as information changes, and everybody can reference back to it. So,
perfect.
Yeah.
And then what about, I know you, like I said earlier, you are recording videos. Are you putting those video updates up on your website, or do they need to go to your YouTube page? Where are you pushing those out? And obviously we'll continue to push those out through our channels as well.
At the moment, we've been putting them up on YouTube, and then linking to our Facebook page, and then linking some of them to our website. We just started that. You Dave, you gave some nice credit to me, but I'll throw some of that back, that you guys do a great job with video in general. You did a great podcast, I guess it's a couple months ago, about the use of video and how to, you talked there about how Facebook likes native uploads better than link references and a lot of that stuff. And I know that's, it's not new, but we were talking with some of our volunteer leaders about how to get things right. And the idea came out that times like this, we need to get accurate information put together, but we also need to, talk a little bit in a way that is a different form of communication. So we'll keep doing video updates, probably do one later today with maybe a little bit more specific information. Put that on our website, YouTube, Facebook, and appreciate you guys and some of the other folks out there with social media groups or whatever, allowing us to share that message.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and stay in touch. We may do another one of these in a day or two. Obviously, if things change pretty drastically, you can reach out to us, and we will push things out. But love what you're doing, and we're trying to do our part as well to get as much information out as we can for the industry.
So if I could just leave it with, if you happen to be in the Northeast and you have a specific question about anything affecting your business or anything we talked about here today, we mentioned the website. I should say the website is nespapool.org, NESPAPOOL.org, and you can reach out via email easily at executive@nespapool.org.
Okay, and you guys have Facebook page and everything too. We'll link that in the comments. So check the comments down below, and we'll put all the links out to every place where they can catch you.
Great.
He is Dominick Mondi, and we appreciate you coming on, President of NESPA. Look him up. We will have him on the show coming up here in the future with updates, and then we look forward, Dominick, to getting your reports on how we come out of this the other end and survive this little downturn in the economy for a future podcast. So thanks so much. Ask the Masters. We're out of here.
All right. Bye-bye.
Ask the Masters is dedicated to educating, mentoring, and designing a better workplace for the swimming pool industry and their families. Please take a moment to share, like, and review our content with all of those that would be interested.